Hey y'all, I'm Val with Our Forever Farm. So today we're making snowball cookies. Sometimes people call them Mexican wedding cookies. Some people call them shortbread. Some people call them Russian tea cakes. There's a lot of things that they're called. And I'm going to get to use my new KitchenAid mixer. I'm so excited. So let's get started. We're going to need butter. We're going to need powdered sugar. We're going to need granulated sugar. We're going to need vanilla flavoring. Video on that, y'all. We're going to need all-purpose flour, pecans, and salt. That's all we're going to need. Basic ingredients that you should have in your kitchen. Now, it calls for really chopped pecans. So I've got my pecans are chopped, as you can see. They are chopped pecans. But as you can see, there's big pieces in them. And it calls for very finely chopped pecans. I've got a video on this. I think one Christmas I did it. And I'm telling you, they are delicious. I'm going to take my sister-in-law and brother-in-law some today. So when we get through here, I think they'll enjoy those. So the first thing we're going to do is take softened butter. In my other video, I used salted butter, which I do most of the time, use salted butter. But if it calls for unsalted, I have learned to use unsalted butter. And you want the butter to be softened. So you don't want it melted, you just want it softened. So if your butter is in the freezer like mine was, or if it's been in the refrigerator and you need to soften it, you can do that really slow in the microwave. Mine was frozen in the freezer and I did it 10 seconds at a time until it got to the softness that I desired without melting it. We've got our butter in there and now we're going to add our granulated sugar. And I like to tell the amounts just in case you can't find the description box, but the recipe will be in the description box. But I like to slowly tell you the amounts where you can follow along if you're wanting to make this right with me. So we're going to add 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, and we're just going to beat this butter until it's creamy. I got my mama's little chopper over here and I'm chopping my nuts, and if I didn't tell you before, I am using chopped nuts, but it calls for very finely chopped nuts. So I'm going to do 2 cups in my chopper and then I'll add them to a bowl. I better put the blade back in. If by chance you hear noise outside, we've got some work going on outside on our deck. So that's 2 cups of chopped pecans. I do apologize for the noise outside, but when you have work done, there's not a thing you can do about it. It's just the way it is. So we're adding 2 cups of all-purpose flour in with our nuts. And I'm going to sift this. I don't always sift it, but I am going to sift it. This is a cute little sifter I got. It's actually an Easter sifter. Happy Easter, it says. It's not Easter, but hey, that'd be a great time to make these cookies, wouldn't it? So I'm going to sift this real quick into the nuts. Next, we're going to add about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now we're just going to stir all this together. The flour, the pecans, and the nuts. And then we're just going to set this aside. If I didn't tell you, preheat your oven to 350. Now's probably the time to do that. So I'm adding 1 teaspoon of vanilla to my creamed butter and sugar. I am using my homemade vanilla. This is the last of it, I hate to say. We're going to do vanilla soon. I promise we've got to. And we're going to cream this together. So next what we're going to do is slowly add our flour and our pecans and our salt mixture to the butter mixture. Isn't this mixer beautiful? So if you don't know the story on me getting this, I just happened to see this online one day, and I had never saw one before, and I thought it was just beautiful. And I think I sent a picture to one of my daughters, and I said, is this not gorgeous? And the reason I sent it to her is because she doesn't have a KitchenAid, and I wanted her to see how pretty this was. I had a white one that was 40 years old. And so I thought this was beautiful, the wooden bowl. It's not a wooden bowl, but it looks like a wooden bowl. It's just beautiful. We're going to mix this on low for just a few minutes until it's all incorporated together. Long story short about this mixer, my girls and their daddy, Sweet Hunter, went in together and got this for me for my birthday. Link for my birthday party will be in the description box. You always want to stop it and scrape this off. And it's a thick mixture. So this is all mixed together, and what we're going to do is just stir it up, make sure we got all the flour incorporated. It is very thick, so make sure you do it very good. And then we're going to form the cookies into balls, and I'm going to use my cookie scooper. It works really well, and then I'll roll them with my hands. We're going to use an ungreased cookie sheet. So I use my cookie scooper just to keep the cookies the very same size. Once I had them all dipped out on the cookie sheet, then I used my hands to roll them into a ball. So in this batch, I got 25 cookies. So I think I'm using a 1-inch cookie scooper, and these are ready to go in the oven. At that stage right there, before you put those in the oven, if you don't have time to cook them right then, you can set them in the refrigerator. You can also flash freeze these, put them in a Ziploc, pull out what you want, when you want, and cook them at any time. That's the beauty of these cookies. I believe that I told you earlier to preheat your oven at 350. 325 is the right temperature for me. And I cook them about 18 to 20 minutes. You just have to watch them. You want them to be a little bit brown on the bottom. These are fragile cookies, so when you get them out, you want to let them sit. It's just about time to get those out of the oven. It's been probably about 18, 19 minutes, something like that. In the meantime, I've semi-cleaned my kitchen. I've put a cup of confectionate sugar in this baking dish for me to roll my cookies in, and we're going to get them out of the oven and see what they look like. So here's the first pan, and you can see they're really fragile cookies. I say that all the time. Very, very fragile. I'm going to set these down here to cool on the island. You want these, I don't know if I can get this one up or not, but you want these a little bit brown on the bottom, like that. Just a little bit. Whoa! See what I mean? Fragile. That won't be wasted, let me assure you. That's from picking them up while they're really hot. So you will let these cookies sit for about 5 minutes, and they'll still be semi-warm, and you're going to roll them in the confectionate sugar the first time. Yep, I said first time. This is what the cookies look like before they're rolled into confectionate sugar. This is when they're cooling for 5 minutes. Okay, so these have sat for about 5 minutes. They're ready to roll the first time in the confectionate sugar. They're just a little bit warm, but you can see they're a lot more solid than the other time when I touched one when it was so hot. Let's get busy. So I don't put it on the serving dish first. I put it on a cookie sheet because these are only rolled one time. And again, you don't want to wait too long to roll these because They need to be warm for the confectionate sugar to stick. Back to the mixer as a gift for my birthday. If you haven't saw my birthday party, you need to go watch it. It's so good. This is their first dip into the powdered sugar. I only had one break right there. That'll be mine. Besides the one that I touched when it was too hot. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to let these sit. I can feel on the bottom of the pan that they're still a little bit warm. We want them completely cooled, and we're going to dip them back in the confectioner's sugar one more time. Okay, these have cooled completely, and I'm going to dip them in the confectioner's sugar one more time. So I'm just going to basically do the same thing carefully. Put them back on the cookie sheet because I want all that confectionate sugar that's loose, I want it to come off on the cookie sheet and not the serving platter. So you can see parts of it needs more confectionate sugar, and this is what makes it good, y'all. I'm telling you, it is so good. But just shake it very gently because, again, these are fragile, fragile little cookies. Does not take long at all to cook these or to make them, as you can see. Thank you to the ones that have missed me being on here. I have slowed down my videos and my Facebook. I just hadn't felt well lately, y'all. Nothing to worry about. I just haven't felt well, and I ask for your prayers. Well, these are all ready. I don't have them on the serving platter yet, but I will, and I'm going to put some in a bowl for a gift box. You want them on the cookie sheet where if any of this confectioner's sugar wants to shake off, it can. But you want to make sure these are really good and coated because that's what makes it good. Wedding cookies, snowballs, Russian tea cakes, whatever you want to call them, they are delicious. And you don't have to wait for a holiday to make these. These are good anytime, great gifts. Have fun with it, enjoy it. There you go. Y'all go cook something. Finger licking good, I'm telling you. They're not too sweet, they're not too rich, they're perfect. They're a bite of heaven. I always say that, just a little piece of heaven. Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And you may wonder why I put a Bible verse on here. This may be the only Bible verse that some hear today. Thank y'all for watching. Pray for us.